Welcome to my video. I'm going to be talking about Palworld. Real quick, I want to mention that I'm not really going to be editing my voice that much, so whatever I say is going to probably be either my first or second take. I wanted to kind of just talk about my opinions and thoughts about Palworld because it's something that I've been looking forward to for a very long time. And now I believe it says 121 hours into Palworld, and I still feel pretty, excited about a lot of the new stuff they're gonna add eventually. At least I'm hoping that they add a lot of stuff. I'll probably have, the roadmap up on the screen right now. I think Palworld, as a game right now, is such an interesting thing that just came onto everyone's lap. You know, it just came out, and not even a week, and it reached 8 million, I believe. It was 8 million copies sold on Steam in the first 6 days, which is crazy. And it's kind of deserved. I mean, Palworld is such a fun and addicting game. Like, even while recording, I'm just kind of looking at my base and seeing it automate and everything. The game is amazing. I have, like I said before, 121 hours put into the game, and I still think I have a lot more stuff to do in it for me to be confident in, saying, yeah, I put a lot of time. I spent about 500 hours in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Well, Pokemon Violet to be specific. I put, 765 hours. I put in almost 800 hours in Pokemon Violet, and I will say, I think Pokemon Violet has such a good story. I think a lot of the characters they introduced to us were really cool. I especially like Kieran, and that's a conversation for another day, hopefully, maybe. I think Palworld as a game is somewhat of an enigma because it's everything that a lot of people wanted out of Pokemon, except for the story. Right now, we don't really have a story. Right now, it's just go beat the Tower Syndicate bosses and catch all the pals. That's pretty much what we've got going on so far. And as cool as that is, I am kind of excited about getting a story for this game, because I do feel like a story would really put together the world of Palworld. I think they called it Palantis or Paltopia or whatever. Palapagos Island is what it's called. And I think just in the span of the 121 hours I put into this game, I think I find more enjoyment out of something like this than I do out of Pokemon Violet. And now that's not to say that I think Pokemon Violet was necessarily bad, but I will say I've definitely dealt with a lot less bugs and glitches and very upsetting errors in this game. I think the only errors I ever had that actually got fixed was my pals not doing the jobs they needed to do, even when assigning them the job. They'll plant, water, and harvest the crops, but as soon as the crops get harvested, they're not transporting. Or I have the chicken and the cow in the farm so I can get eggs and milk, and they're not grazing, so I'm not getting eggs and milk. All that's been fixed to a degree. I still have some minor issues here and there, but that is such a minuscule problem. I think the main problem with Palworld is just the lack of side quest story stuff. I think this game would be much more fun if it was you had an NPC come up and be like, hey, go catch I don't know, Grisbolt, or go catch a Penking or something, and bring it to me, and I'll give you money, or I'll give you a set of items. I think that'd be really cool. Also, whenever the story gets updated, whenever we start getting into whenever we get out of early access and this game is fleshed out to a degree, I think it would be very nice to have those side quests, or maybe the story is something oh yeah, these Tower Syndicate people were hiding something, and we have to go to the big tree in the northwest, which I'm assuming is what that's gonna be for. That tree is gonna have some sort of story element, because right now we can't go to it, and that's okay, because I'd like to be able to just wait it out. I think just the way that this game is, I don't have a problem waiting for content. I think that has to do with the fact that this game right now, as of this recording, is $30. I think that price tag is fair. I think if Palworld came out at the 60 full, it would have been not so great. But $30 upon release, in this quality, with this much care and effort put into the game itself, I think that's kind of crazy. I think that's cool. Now, speaking of effort, I think some of the PAL designs have a lot of effort put into it, and then I think some are just like, I mean, as somebody who's like a long-term Pokemon fan, you look at something like Azarobi, which is like the water snake, and you immediately think like, oh, it's got like Primarina's hair, or it looks like Serperior, it's just blue. Or you look at something like Robin Quill, and it's like, oh, this reminds me of Decidueye, even though it's not Decidueye. So I think the designs, I love them regardless, because I'm a sucker for these little creatures. I love them. I just think it would have been nice to not have them be so similar looking, even though I believe that's what the Palworld creator wanted. They wanted some of the designs to be like obvious on what they're like supposed to be based on, but not exactly. Either way, I think Palworld is a very good game, and I do highly suggest a lot of people play it. I genuinely love this game. I don't think 121 hours is enough time to put into something like this. It's kind of a survival based game, and you know how survival games are. And if you don't know, good on you, I think. I'm not too crazy about the survival aspect. I find it fun though. I think my most fun experience with survival game is Minecraft, and that's not really saying much. I dabbled in DayZ and whatnot, and I don't think I played it for too long to really like get the survival aspect down. I don't even think DayZ is like a survival. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't played it that much. Regardless though, I did play a lot of Pokemon, and I see a lot of people talk about the comparisons between Pokemon and Palworld, where like of course, like I mentioned earlier, the designs are all the same. They all look, they're all somewhat similar, or some of them are super similar, some of them aren't. I do think the one thing that Pokemon has over any of these monster catcher games is just the fact that it's so global and widespread. And I'm not just saying that because everybody knows Pokemon and everybody knows like Pokemon like Pikachu and Charizard and blah blah blah. Like the fact that, you know, it has Pokemon Go, the fact that it has things that normal people who don't play Pokemon games the way that I did, they have access to it in other different ways, in other small, easy methods of media, which is not a bad thing, but it's weird because it's like if my grandma wanted to get into Pokemon, all she has to do is download Pokemon Go or Pokemon Cafe Remix, and boom, she doesn't even have to play the main game. As opposed to someone who's like, in my social circle, who's like, oh, I'll just pick up Pokemon Black and White, no issue. So I think that's one thing that Pokemon kind of has over all these other monster catcher games, and I'm hoping that at least some of them will provide us with another way to enjoy monster catcher games, or monster tamer games, if you will. Like, if Palworld had a mobile game where you could just go out and catch pals, I know that would be so ridiculous, but that'd be kind of funny. And that would also be like oh cool, another way to, you know, take the game with me wherever I go. I think another main point that I'd like to talk about last while I'm rambling is the fact that the quality of Palworld's like overworld and just the many landscapes and things that are around in the game, they don't look choppy. They don't look like I'm playing a GameCube game or a SNES game, or you know, they don't look like, this game is beautiful. This game has a lot of beautiful landscapes and textures and areas that you can explore that are very vast and exciting, and I think Pokemon needs to step up when it comes to their graphics and everything. Like I mentioned before, I think Scarlet and Violet were story-based wise like pretty good. I think their story was fantastic, but the performance and the graphics made me feel embarrassed to be a Pokemon fan, because as much as I want to give Pokemon the benefit of the doubt, because that's part of my childhood, I think it's kind of embarrassing that you are the highest multimedia franchise in the world, and you're giving us slurry, you're giving us crap, you're giving us bad, tasteless, it just doesn't look good. It doesn't look good on the company for them to be giving us these ugly looking games. There are some places in those games that look really nice. Like the Bamboo Forest looks kind of cool, but why is my game chugging at 20 FPS when I go there? You know, it's stuff like that that is kind of just a little embarrassing and a little saddening. And I really wish that wasn't the case. And it's another one of the problems. Because of the graphics, it's caused me not to want to play. Because of the frames as well, it's caused me to not want to play as much. And I enjoyed shiny hunting. I think shiny hunting was one of my most favorite things, besides team building and then not playing the team. I would have loved to continue doing that, but I just can't deal with how slow and how much the game chugs doing anything. It's upsetting and it's a little sad. With that said, I'm not saying I want Pokemon to stop making their game. I do, however, want them to get better. And I think that's why it's a really good thing that Palworld exists. As you'll probably hear from much better structured videos than mine, you'll probably hear people say, oh, I think Palworld being released is very good for the Pokemon company, because it'll provide them a sort of a challenge or whatnot. I wish that was the case. I don't actually believe that Pokemon is really going to take this game seriously, even with its like record-breaking sales and whatnot. I don't know. It's really hard to tell with the Pokemon company. They did make a statement about it. It'll be on the screen, and I'll probably just have it on the screen for a little bit. Do they really care if this game gains all this traction so quickly? If it's one thing I've seen with trends, is they do tend to spread very quickly, but then as time goes on, they'll die out. Unless Palworld gives us very huge content updates, and I'm not just talking about like, you know, adding a couple pals, but you know, if they give us like new ways to automate, like new ways to do stuff, maybe enhance the way we do stuff right now, where there's more intricate ways of increasing our bases and increasing our pals, that would be pretty cool. I think that would be very interesting. I do genuinely think that Palworld is something that you should give a try if you haven't already. I believe the price that it's worth right now is actually something that you should look into before the price goes up, because you never know. As soon as the game becomes full or out of early access, I am not expecting them to keep the $30 price tag. They might, and if they do, good for them. But you never know. With all that said, I do hope you enjoyed this kind of a sloppy video. I just wanted to make something, so hopefully having this video out will help with my channel not having much stuff on it. And maybe I might do more of these little like video essays, me rambling on about stuff. I'm not even gonna edit my voice. I'm not gonna edit my recording. I just want to do a one and done situation here. Just be as candid and transparent have my audience kind of just understand what I'm trying to say without chopping up my voice and everything and making it incomprehensible. But regardless of that, I do hope you have enjoyed my video. I do hope that you leave a like, maybe subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks, and stay tuned for more.